Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host Red. Got a video today from Baskley. The WNBA.
To it, and this is from NBC. They posted this trailer right here. Angel Reese, Stewie, Valkyries, Aja, Kelsey Plum, Neka, Paige. If you know, you know. With basically all the big WNBA players in it.
Sure.
This is the W, and this spring. And obviously, there's no.
NBC just put themselves in a legally
Yeah, where are these games playing? What's going on? Is there even gonna be games?
precarious position. They dropped a massive promotional trailer for the 2025 WNBA season, featuring Angel Reese, Brianna Stewart, Aja Wilson, Kelsey Plum, and Paige Beckers. Big production, slick editing, the full treatment. There's just one problem. There's no CBA signed. No collective bargaining agreement means no season.
Like, was NBC that confident that they knew or don't think that they're gonna strike?
And NBC is advertising a product that might not exist.
In their late CBA. I need to talk about that. Everyone's saying, oh, they didn't offer a different revenue split, and they absolutely did not give the players a revenue split, which is something that I think we all kind of know that isn't going to happen. We've always said is like, look, they're not going to get the rev split, but what they should get is the highest salary possible. The WNBA offered a 50k per player price raise. Like, they literally added an extra 10% to the salary cap from their initial one. They didn't change the max salary, but they bumped the average salary up by 600k as base salary, which is big, by the way.
Here's what most people are missing about this negotiation. The WNBA already offered players an average salary increase of $50,000 per player in their latest proposal. They bumped the salary cap by $600,000 as a base increase. That's a 10% increase to the overall salary cap from their initial offer. These aren't
from initial offer, and their initial offer was pretty good.
Small numbers for a league that's been hemorrhaging money for most of its existence. But the players' union rejected it. And this is where it gets complicated, because the rejection isn't actually about the money itself.
These players are going to be making $0 if there's no season. So I think it's hard to be, in general, anti-players when they make $0 if there's no season. And it's one of those things where this is not like the NBA in 2011 where they could afford a lockout because the players already had money, other than the rookies who knew they were eventually going to come back into a league where they were going to make millions and millions of dollars. Like, the fact is that there is a world where the WNBA does not exist.
The players aren't asking.
It might be reality of this world.
For more money. Read that again. They're asking for a completely different payment structure.
Right.
They want revenue sharing, similar to what NBA players have. The WNBA is offering higher fixed salaries.
It's funny because when the NBA started, a lot of those players got paid nothing. Like, absolutely nothing compared to what these women are getting paid now just to be shitty at their job.
Players want their compensation tied to league revenue. It's a fundamental disagreement about how the financial model should work. Now here's why that matters. Revenue sharing works when a league is profitable.
Yes.
The NBA can offer 50% of basketball-related income to players because there's massive income to share. The WNBA is still operating at a loss. Revenue sharing in a league that loses money means players would potentially make less than they do now under the fixed salary structure.
Exactly.
They have to know more because, by the way, again, coming to NBC and Peacock, surely by saying this, they've left themselves open to some form of, if nothing else, a guaranteed refund. I don't know anything legally, but like, surely, if you saw this advertisement and you bought Peacock for the year, you bought a year of Peacock today, you could win $1 million. I'm sure you could.
Technically, yeah, I can see that. That's false advertising. If you bought it specifically because of this ad, and this ad shows that there's going to be certain shows and stuff going to be on soon, yeah, that's false advertising.
Go to them and say, I bought this for WNBA and advertised, it didn't happen.
I don't know if anybody's going to admit they bought Peacock because of the WNBA, but
give me a refund.
This is not the NBA lockout of 2011. That's the comparison everyone keeps making, and it's completely wrong. In 2011, NBA players could afford a work stoppage because they already had money in the bank. Veterans had earned millions. Even rookies knew they were entering a league where they'd make generational wealth eventually.
True.
The financial pressure was on the owners to get games back on television. The WNBA is the opposite. These players need the season. Most WNBA athletes don't have the financial cushion to miss paychecks. They're not negotiating from a position of strength. They're negotiating from necessity. And that changes
They're negotiating as if they were like Tiny Tim. Please, sir, can I have some more?
everything about the leverage dynamics.
A big mistake if y'all force people to subscribe to watch, except I doubt there'll be a season, maybe if they decide to pay the players what they deserve. I mean this when I say this, like, even if the player, they paid the, like, they're giving the players 7x increases. The players are holding out for, the players, it's not even about paying the players, which is the weirdest thing, is it's nothing to do with paying the players.
It
is the players
sharing.
want.
I don't get the revenue share. Why is it so important? It's again, it's like women want to be men. They want to be exactly like men and want the things that men have, but you can't because men built it certain ways, and now men are profitable. You are not. You can't just steal their model of how they pay their players. It doesn't work.
An entirely different system of how their payment is generated. The players aren't actually asking for more money. They're asking for.
So back to NBC's trailer. Why would a major television network advertise a season that might not happen? Either they know something we don't, or they just open themselves up to a consumer protection nightmare. Think about it. If someone saw that NBC promotional trailer and subscribed to Peacock specifically to watch WNBA games, and then there's no season, that's textbook false advertising. NBC would almost certainly have to issue refunds. Maybe they have language in their contract with the WNBA that protects them financially if there's no season. Maybe the WNBA reimburses them for the advertising spend, but it's still a massive risk to their brand credibility.
Because I think it's also positive that the WNBPA have not called it a slap in the face. I've not said it's like putting lipstick on a pig. I've not responded to anything or publicly started posting on social media about this, or like asking them to write angry letters towards Adam Silver. They haven't posted anything from this since this one, which is important, which is genuinely important.
Here's what's actually encouraging though. The WNBA Players Association hasn't responded to NBC's trailer with outrage. They haven't called it a slap in the face. They haven't posted on social media telling fans to write angry letters to Adam Silver. They haven't done the public pressure campaign. That silence is significant. Compare that to how the union has handled other moments in this negotiation. When they didn't like an offer, they went public immediately. They've been vocal,
I mean, this is when you talking about true business people versus amateurs and even playing basketball.
aggressive. They've used social media as leverage. So why the silence now? The most logical explanation is that negotiations are progressing. The deal might actually be close.
Being with the AU players was, look, we need a season. We can't live without it. And just do what you can. Do what you can, get us the best deal you can. And I wouldn't be surprised if the players could probably negotiate. They've gone from 5 to 5.6 million. The players could probably negotiate another million on salary cap, which is again an extra 100k per player on average. So basically from the last CBA, from the one 6 weeks ago, they could probably bump up the average salary to 650k from 450k base salary. They absolutely could go and do something like that. Maybe bring the rookie salary up to 300k. They have
Rookie salaries of 300k. 300k, guys.
absolutely have the ability to.
The salary cap went from 5 million to 5.6 million in the WNBA's revised offer. That's real money spread across 12 players per team. Could the players negotiate another million? Probably. That would bring the average salary to about $650,000, up from $450,000 in the previous CBA. Add in another bump to rookie minimum salaries, maybe push that to $300,000, and you've got a deal that's genuinely transformative for player compensation.
I mean, they used to get paid 50, 60s, 80-ish. 80 was like the minimum. Now they're going to get paid 300? Where do I sign?
But it still wouldn't be revenue sharing. And that seems to be the sticking point. The union wants the structure, not just the number. They want to own a piece of the upside if the league explodes in popularity over the next 5 years.
I think there's no way that a network would be posting this unless they were confident.
I mean, NBC is a pretty damn big network.
Unless they were confident, especially when you put fucking neck in the trailer. Like, I don't think this is going to put pressure on the players, because a network is not going to be putting pressure on the players, because the network can just probably almost certainly get their money back if there's not going to be a WNBA season. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I still think the likelihood is well above 50% of there being a season. And anyway, yeah, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Again, every time we watch them, it's just the biggest, best example of women. It's just not enough.
So here's where we actually are. NBC wouldn't risk their brand reputation on a promotional campaign unless they had strong indication a deal is imminent. The network has too much to lose. They just paid a fortune for WNBA broadcast rights. They're building their entire spring sports
well, it might be because they paid a fortune for it. They're like, man, you guys better make this shit work.
Programming around women's basketball. If there's no season, they have to fill that airtime with something else, probably at a loss, while also dealing with the public relations disaster of advertising a product that doesn't exist. The players' union's silence suggests they're not trying to sabotage the deal through public pressure. That's a good sign. It means they're negotiating in good faith behind closed doors. The WNBA increased their offers significantly, which shows they're willing to move on compensation even if they won't budge on revenue-sharing structure. And the clock is ticking. Training camps are supposed to start in a matter of weeks. The longer this drags out, the more both sides lose. Players lose paychecks. The league loses momentum from last season's record ratings. NBC loses programming and subscriber growth. Sponsors lose marketing opportunities. Everyone has an incentive to get this done. But here's the uncomfortable reality that nobody wants to say out loud. If the players hold out for revenue sharing and there's no season, the league could fold. Not immediately, but the damage would be catastrophic.
It makes sense. I mean, not having a whole season, even baseball, basketball, hockey, all of them did very similar when they took a season off or so. It was so hard for those sports to come back because people just move on.
Casual fans who just discovered the WNBA during Caitlin Clark's rookie season would disappear. Sponsors would pull back. Television networks would reconsider their investments. The league has momentum right now, genuine cultural momentum for the first time in its history. Losing a season would squander all of that. The players know this. The union leadership knows this. Which is why, despite the public posturing, I still think the likelihood of a season is well above 50%, maybe 70%, maybe higher. The WNBA will probably squeeze out another small increase to the salary cap. The players will probably accept a deal that doesn't include full revenue sharing, but includes some form of performance-based bonuses tied to league growth. Both sides will claim victory, and will have basketball in May, because the alternative is too destructive for everyone involved. The players lose their platform and their paychecks.
Yep.
The league loses its momentum and possibly its existence.
I mean, imagine the league losing its existence. For 30 years, all of these owners has been losing money, and now all of your assets, the actual league itself, just dissipates into nothingness. I don't think owners are into this.
NBC loses hundreds of millions in investment, and fans lose the sport just as it was finally breaking through. NBC's trailer isn't just marketing, it's a signal. They know something. The deal is close. And when it gets announced, both sides will frame.
Or maybe it's a thing to make push the owners to try to make a deal, because this is the network, right? They're the ones that pay the owners, pay the league, so they might put pressure on the league itself, maybe not the players.
Frame it as a win, even though both sides compromised. That's how negotiations work.
Always.
So will there be a WNBA season in 2025? I'm betting yes. The stakes are too high for both sides to walk away now. And NBC wouldn't be running national advertising campaigns if they thought there was a real chance of no basketball.
True.
They've seen the numbers. They've been in the room, and they're confident enough to put their brand reputation on the line. The question isn't whether there will be a season anymore. The question is what the final salary numbers look like, and whether the players got enough additional concessions to justify the brinkmanship. We'll find out soon. Because training camps don't wait for negotiations to finish. The clock is running out, and everyone knows it.
I mean, from what I can tell, the owners keep offering more and more. The owners, makes sense why the owners want the league to keep going, because they've invested so long into this league. They want the money back. They want some profits sooner or later. not for the whole league. They just literally disintegrate into nothing. That's a lot of years and efforts to build something that lost money and to turn into nothing. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that. And catch you guys next time. Ciao.